All right, Wednesday, Season 2, Part 1 is on Netflix now. We're going to talk about whether it lives up to the hype of Season 1 and if I'm excited for Part 2.
First time you've ever willingly returned to a school. How does it feel?
Like returning to the scene of the crime. I already know where the bodies are buried.
All right, so Episode 1, after a productive summer break, Wednesday returns to Nevermore as a grudging campus celebrity and the target of a dangerous stalker. So in case you missed my review, I was a big fan of Season 1. I was excited to see what Season 2 would bring, and I think this is the perfect vehicle for Tim Burton, completely suiting his skill set, bringing that once again in this season. And, of course, Jenna Ortega as Wednesday is phenomenal. Now, she doesn't have to do as much heavy lifting in Season 2 so far because there are a few things happening, maybe one too many plot lines. For some viewers, they may be kind of forced to keep up with everything going on in and around Nevermore. This time around, Pugsley is there. Her parents, aka Morticia and Gomez, have a huge role in Season 2, and specifically that mother-daughter relationship between she and Morticia. There's something going on in the midst of this mystery she is trying to solve, and you really see the strain in that relationship, how it plays with her grandmother as well, and I really like that addition. It was somewhat present in Season 1, but again, they weren't in that season all that much more prevalent in the first 4 episodes, which is cool. But going back to Tim Burton and this style, it remains the exact same throughout Season 2. You're thrown right back into this world. I mean, immediately. Not only back in it with Wednesday and the relationship that she's forming with Enid, trying to prevent something from happening to her roommate while also attempting to solve this mystery in the first 2 episodes that is admittedly more interesting than I thought going into Episode 1. I'm thinking, okay, are we going to do the same thing that we did in Season 1? And it does try to shift the story just a little bit. Again, kind of focusing on different characters. You've got a subplot with Pugsley, even though because there's so much happening, that story is ultimately shortchanged in Part 1, so I expect them to do a lot more in Part 2. But also plenty of guest stars. I mean, Haley Joel Osment, Steve Buscemi, who plays an awesome role in this season. And Wednesday is kind of this star on campus, and obviously, she's not the type of person who's going to appreciate that, and so that makes for some really interesting humor. Again, the comedy is injected perfectly into a show like this, and I just keep going back to the entire vibe. I mean, I understand why Part 2's coming out closer to Halloween. That's really going to get you into the spirit, but this entire thing, it just evokes this sense of like, okay, it shouldn't be summer while I'm watching this, it should be fall. I should be walking into a Hot Topic right now. Like, it just gives off this vibe that, again, is so perfectly suited for Tim Burton, and bringing all of these characters to life, bringing back the characters that we know and love, Thing having a huge role in Season 2. There's also a pretty funny subplot with Uncle Fester. I don't know if it's going to be everyone's cup of tea just because of the type of humor that it is, but specifically in Episode 4, I found it to be pretty hilarious. And I found a lot of the quips and the jokes and the gags to carry so much weight in this season, not really taking away from the emotional stakes, because surprisingly, there are emotional stakes. This season is darker. And I'm not saying they push limits to the extreme just because of the type of show Wednesday is, but it's definitely taking more risks, which I appreciate. And this idea that something bad is going to happen to someone that Wednesday doesn't despise, I think that's the best way to put it, is great. And whenever it comes to her and her mother butting heads, you can feel the strain between them, and ultimately it becomes the best part of this story. Now, again, there's a lot going on in Part 1. And it's only 4 episodes. I don't love the idea of splitting this into 2 parts. Again, it's going to be fun when Part 2 comes out and we're closer to fall at that point or getting ready to get into it. But all in all, I feel like we're so shortchanged on any resolution with Part 1. That 1 month wait, almost 2 month wait, is going to be really frustrating for some fans. And, you know, specifically with Pugsley's storyline and a couple of things that were set up here that get no payoff or resolve, and only a few episodes remaining, I'm thinking, I don't know if they can give me what I need from this in time. And so they've set up so much that they have to deliver on. I'm a little nervous going into Part 2, but at the same time, the cliffhanger that they leave you off on at the end of Episode 4 is really good. And I do think Season 2 is fleshing her out well, and again, those stakes are a little higher. You can feel the weightiness of Season 2 a bit more because it's a lot more intense, in my opinion. a couple of subplots in general, and really like episode 3, when the two camps are going up against each other, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but I'm thinking it kind of feels like one of those storylines that didn't need to exist, but only does to fill time. And don't get me wrong, it was fun to see our group of weirdos going up against the normies, even though the normies are weirdos themselves, but all in all, I feel like there were parts of that stretch that felt like it was stretching, and I wasn't fully involved in what was going on. But the mysteries, plural, at play here, specifically what she's trying to set out to prevent, are really fascinating. I'm excited to see where they go, and I'm really pumped to see where this big dynamic between she, her mother, and her grandmother, that relationship is headed going into part 2, because I think they've set that up extremely well. So I need to know, what are your thoughts on season 2 so far? Is it as good as season 1? Are you excited to see what happens in about a month? And I'm going to hold off on giving it a number, because I don't think that's fair yet. But I will say, as of now, it's going to be a fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. It is a thumbs up for these first 4 episodes. Entertainment in abundance. While it toes the line of exhausting with numerous plot threads, season 2 starts off on a fun note, specifically because the decision to make this more of a family matter. Ortega still shines, and her wittiness will continue to keep fans hooked on this character. Jenna Ortega is so perfect for Wednesday, and I think the entirety of the cast is working well so far. We'll see where these storylines go. Hopefully they pay off in part 2. If you'd like a review for part 2, drop a thumbs up here, share this video if you want to see more from me on Wednesday. We'll come back for more and maybe talk some spoilers if you tell me you want to see it. All right, I'll see you soon.